Thank you, everybody, for attending. We're going to call the regularly scheduled town council meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. For those who are able to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Brings us to item 3, additions and changes to the agenda. Are there any additions and changes from the town manager?
The only thing is the addition of the.
Good to know. Okay. Are there any other additions and changes to the agenda from any counselor?
Just old business, just an update on the website development
Okay.
modernization.
So we'll make that item 8G because we have discussed that under new business before, website modernization project, we call it.
There you go. That works.
All right. That'll come any other old business to 8H. Any objection?
No.
Okay, very good. Any other additions or changes? Alrighty, that brings us to item number 4, public comment. This section of the agenda is reserved for persons in attendance who wish to briefly address the town council. The council requests that a person's comments be limited to a single period lasting 3 minutes or less. And tonight we are debuting a 3-minute time clock so that you can see your limit and you will be able to time accordingly. While the council respects the right of the public to provide comment, this time is not intended for open discussion or a council response. Residents who wish to request a dialogue should make arrangements to do so through the town manager's office or the council chair or any other member of the town council. Persons wishing to comment online should type comment in your name in the chat box and you will be recognized. We will start with comment in person. Is there anyone in person who would like to make a public comment? Terry.
Aaron Manis, 169 North Street, Hebron, Connecticut, 06248. I said I wasn't going to talk about this again, but I kind of lied. So here I am. Madam Chair and councilors, more than once, confrontation is presented to me learning opportunities. A while back, I was unable to address this council chamber in a manner that I was used to. Pretty tough stuff for me, but it forced me to rethink how I should participate. For this, I'm grateful and learning. But I have a suggestion for this council. Last week, I was fortunate to participate in a give and take with board chair members. In this meeting, opinions were given and board members replied. This did 2 things, I believe. It validated the citizens' opinions just by allowing a citizen to ask a question and expect to receive an answer. And it also informed people. Not only did it inform me, I believe it informed the participants of the panel. It was a great give and take, and I learned so much. At a recent town meeting, parliamentary procedure was used to ensure discussion. While derided by some, they put on the record a decision that clarified that the land purchase was not an open space purchase. And I think I heard some chit chat about that earlier. It was not an open space purchase, according to my opinion. The assembly had the opportunity, and this is important, to designate this purchase as open space. The assembly decided not to do so. All of this process would not have happened without debate. And we've been to many of those meetings. Ask a question, get an answer or a response, and the citizen is more well informed. That's really good stuff. I urge this council to do away with that collide. This group of leaders, I urge the council, the group of leaders, to ensure that rules of order are written by the moderators at town meetings as called for by the town charter, and to continue down the road of open democracy as rules of order will ensure. I think if I would come to a lot more meetings if I knew I could get a simple answer or a simple question. But I understand there are rules and I'm going to participate in them. Last week's panel discussion was an example of governance, in my opinion. That's it. Thank you, Madam Chair, councilors.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Terry.
I see Dan in the back and I think Rob. So Dan first.
Dale Larkin, 147.
Dan, you've got to come up to the X. No, it's your turn to come up to the X. Come on up.
Where's the lights? Where's the spotlight? Burn my head. Dale Larson, 147 Hope Valley Road, Amston, Connecticut. I come here after reading the cost that is likely to be incurred for the Public Works project. I would suggest, and I believe hopefully the board is also going to request that your commission relook at their charge, possibly considering any changes to allow them some more latitude. I've also suggested to them and to this board to request that pricing be done as a unit pricing system for different portions of the project, because I don't believe it's going to pass a referendum. The other thing is, if you are looking for other ideas, other possibly plan Bs and Cs and Ds, I kind of broached one of them last year, and I've expanded on that. And if you're interested, I'd be more than happy to write them up. Just gotta let me know. And that's it. Have a great time. Thank you.
Anyone else in person public comment? Well, I think Rob was next and then there's someone in the back. Yep, Rob.
Love the clock. And if I were ever to get a heart attack, I hope it's right now. So I feel pretty safe. All right, Rob Boudre, 31 Mile Road, Hampstead. When I first started studying the DPW issue, people told me I was wasting my time. Kenny is dead, they said. The decision has already been made. The more I heard that, the more concerned I became, because that's not how government works. And that's certainly not how Hebron should work. On Tuesday night, I listened closely as David Foster addressed the PWAC. Two comments stood out. First, he called the proposed Old Colchester Road project cost, quote, obscene. A refreshingly honest assessment. Second, he suggested we've already locked into a path that earlier decisions about other sites can't be revisited. And that is exactly where we need to push back. I spent 27 years in the Connecticut General Assembly. The one principle that was repeated constantly: no legislative body is bound by the acts of a previous legislative body. Every new legislature has full authority to amend or reverse past decisions. That ability to revisit choices is fundamental to our democratic self-governance. You are Hebron's legislative. You even have a cool new title, Town Council. But your authority is not new, and you are no less powerful than the Board of Selectmen that came before you. And you are certainly more powerful than SurveyMonkey. So when someone says, we already decided that, it's simply not accurate. You can revisit those decisions. The real question is whether you want to. And the public deserves to know. Right now, this community is staring down a steep tax increase. The events of the past week show that this proposal is unraveling. No bids for curbside, new directives from the council. At a minimum, the town deserves a full, transparent vetting of the proposal to permanently close the dump before deciding where to site the facility. Your own CIP proposal underscores the challenges. The department submitted $5.1 million in capital requests next year. Only $1.6 million was recommended. Those unmet needs don't disappear, they roll forward. And they already total $9.1 million for fiscal year 27-28. The town's budget reflects its values. And while annual appropriations and capital projects may come from different pockets, they're still the same pair of pants. Every major capital project adds long-term debt service that squeezes everything else. Every dollar spent on oversized construction is a dollar unavailable for schools, public safety, senior services, and basic infrastructure. That's why a $30 million plus DPW complex is not just another project. It would reshape Hebron's finances for years, at a time when we're already struggling to keep up. There is a better way. Many residents want a holistic, one that considers all of Hebron's needs together, not the DPW project in isolation. That requires stepping back, looking at the full picture, and choosing solutions that strengthen the entire community. Hebron deserves leadership that protects the future, not a project that mortgages it. I'm asking you to step in, take charge, and steer this proposal towards more affordable or responsible alternatives.
Thank you. I think there was somebody that I cannot see behind the screen, so you can come on up.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Lynn Leavenworth. I live at 105 Old Colchester Road in Amston, and I'm part of the Hebron 250 committee that is working on a lot of different events and projects throughout the year to celebrate the 250th birthday of our beginning as a country. My job on the committee, I have two jobs, but this one I was asked to present about tonight. And that is a contest for students at RAM. It's an essay and oratorical contest. And I want to thank the people who helped me make copies and disseminate some of this information. We're part of this group who I've never met, but I thank Dory and Mallory from the town who helped with this. But anyway, the gist of the contest is for students in high school to write about, our prompt is about Connecticut being called the provision state and how important it was that even this area in Eastern Connecticut was instrumental in helping our revolution. And we're asking students to write about that. The Historical Society has offered their services to students as well. And several teachers at RAM are promoting this and helping students with this. It'll be a $250 award for the winning entry. And there'll be 3 people judging it, 2 teachers, including me, and a newspaper editor who's my husband. So we'll be judging those. Our deadline is end of March, and the essay will be presented at the 4th of July ceremony here in town. So thank you again for the office making these copies, and they're here for anyone who would like one. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other in-person public comment? Okay, online, I see that we have one person wishing to make public comment, Kevin Chillamary. Kevin, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair and town councilors. Appreciate the opportunity. One thing I'd like to tonight address the Department of Public Works project and offer a little bit of perspective that I believe that town council probably knows most of this, but I'd like to share it with the public as well. In a little bit of research, I recently discovered a couple similar Department of Public Works facilities construction projects. One in Truro, Massachusetts, reported in January 2025 for their new 20,000 square foot DPW facility, which compares to Hebron's 50,000 square foot facility. Their facility is estimated between $28 and $29 million. And actually it was rejected at $28 million in May 2024. But then when they went back to referendum in December of 2024, that price had already grown to $29.2 million. They've been working on their facility for 13 years. And according to their project manager, quote, no matter how you slice it and dice it, you're between 26 and $30 million in cost. And then in Seekonk, Massachusetts, in August of 2024, their new 61,000 square foot DPW facility was estimated between 31 million and 40 million. And so I just offer that as a little perspective on the actual value that we're looking at from the designs by Silver Petroselli and on their award-winning design that has been recognized by the State Design Association that recognizes the quality of their designs and their plans. I'd also quickly like to mention how long Hebron has been working on this Department of Public Works facility. I found one note back to 2004, where there was a town study, but really the most serious studies are the 2010 municipal facility study made by the town of Hebron, a 2013 study by CME Associates, 2015 study by BL Companies, and 2017 study by BL Companies. All the way back in 2010, the town of Hebron reported, quote, "The public works facility is in desperate need of additional space and more efficient working conditions," end quote. In 2017, the BL Companies reported, quote, "The existing buildings had reached the end of their useful life and were in need of replacement," end quote. Jump to 2000.
You're at 3 minutes, Kevin. You're at 3 minutes. Please wrap up.
I will. Thank you. So in 2014, the POCD for Hebron clearly states, quote, "The public works facilities are clearly the town facilities most in need of replacement and upgrading." And that was repeated word for word in the most recent 2024 POCD. So there's a lot of information out there regarding this project, and I'd like to thank the Public Works Action Committee for all their efforts and look forward to their presentation this evening as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I don't see anybody else online wishing to make a comment at this time. We'll have another session at the end, so we will move on. Brings us to item number 5, which is good to know special recognition. And Claudia has an item for us regarding Church Street Commons. So Claudia, if you want to share that with the public.
So I'm very happy to share the continuing good news and success of the Church Street Commons project. In the 2026 signing of the Consolidated Appropriations Act of this is U.S. Congress federal budget was signed into law and included a $250,000 appropriation for the rehabilitation of Church Street Commons, specifically the existing rectory building that's on the property. As y'all know, this is part of a 50-unit mixed income housing development. So we are very pleased that it continues to receive support both on the federal and state levels as the project continues on. Secondly, I want to make sure that the public is aware that there is a public session. The Church Street Commons board and other experts are going to be talking about the project. It's open to the public. Anyone can attend, and that's on Thursday, March 12th, 6:30 over at St. Peter's at their rectory hall there. So again, in the spirit of transparency, in the spirit of sharing information, communication with the public, I'd encourage anyone and everyone to attend. Honestly, I've had many people approach me and ask me very excitedly, when is that list going to open up? Because my mother wants it, my grandmother wants it, I want it. So there is anticipated excitement for the project, and I guarantee it will be filled very quickly once it's up and running. So thank you to the Common CDC. And I actually want to shout out Matt Bordeaux. If he's not listening, he'll probably listen later. He was instrumental in writing the proposal to Congressman Courtney's office. So I want to thank him. He's always been an excellent supporter of the project, continues to do great work for the town. Matt is a huge asset to us. So thank you, Matt.
Thank you as well to Congressman Courtney, who always does his part to make sure Eastern Connecticut is not forgotten about.
Yep.
So we are very grateful to him. Alrighty, thank you. Any questions for Claudia? All right, moving right along. It brings us to item number 6, appointments and resignations. We have one, Douglas Library Board of Trustees appointment. Jan, would you be so kind as to read that for us?
I will do, Madam Chair. Move that the Hebron Town Council appoint Patricia D. King, the Douglas Library Board of Trustees, for a term to run until December 2026.
Okay, I believe she's here. Would you like to take a moment to address the council, or you don't have to? We like to offer you the opportunity to say hello or just talk a little bit about yourself. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Perfect. Hello. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You did see my letter that was attached, so that really kind of sums up anything that I would say, other than I just want to say hello and introduce myself, so a face with a name. And thank you for at least acting on my request.
Wonderful. All right. Any questions from the council? Discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay, or if you wish to abstain. Jan Lawrence.
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley.
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit.
Keep it at eye.
Sean Fitzgerald.
Gerald, aye.
Tiffany Teely, aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you and congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right. That brings us to item number 7, the town manager's report. Andy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Some good news. We were notified this week, Matt, the town planner, that the DPH has approved the test drilling sites for the wells on Wall Street. So if a little bit of the snow gets
Right.
out of the way, we can get out there and start figuring where we're going to do those. And we should get started and start doing water exploration.
Wonderful.
And I'm sure Richard knows about this, but the synagogue at number 10 Church Street received a grant approved for the historic preservation office. So that's good news. That's a building right in the center of our town that is in need of repair. And I know I worked with Richard and Kathy Osten on that. So that came to fruition. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, Nancy, and Kathy Osen for unyielding support
Mhm.
for a lot of projects.
How much was it? Do you know about?
$25,000.
Wonderful. That's great.
Excellent.
Is that going to take care of the tarp that's on the building?
$25,000.
The way things are going.
Okay.
Actually, it's only for pre-design services, architectural engineering. It's not meant for the actual construction. Yeah, not only the roof that we'll have to engage an architect for, but there's structural issues inside. So that'll consume.
Good start.
Part of it.
That's understood.
And on such a good note, we had our insurance Region 8 consortium meeting. And our insurance percentage has gone up. We had used 15 in our budgets, and it's at a 16.5 right now. So we're hoping next month that'll start to right the ship. So we didn't change the numbers yet, but we're going to have that number in case we have to add to the school budget and the RAM budget and the town's budget. But we still stuck with the 15 for now. So that's a fluid document, and we're almost done with the town budget. But those numbers for the CIP revenue, we just got those today. So you're getting it as soon as we're getting it done. And then Sean, I won't steal your thunder about our AHM meeting. I think you're going to report on that under.
I mean, by all means, I was just going to more report on the numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll add the report in the next meeting so the public can see it.
Yeah, because they're going to have another meeting as well. I talked to her today. Her meeting at Trust at AHM. The town budget's almost done, so we'll have that information, and we'll share that prior to the meeting with council and the Board of Finance. And then I won't steal your thunder about the website meeting, but that's, what the town managers have been doing in all these meetings. So just reporting what we've been doing, but I'll let you take care of that.
Sure. That's fine. Thanks, Andy.
Then I've been working hand in hand with the building committee on RFPs for both the school roof and then the DPW and the trash and things of that nature. So that's been keeping us pretty busy, especially the budget and the CIP. So that's all hands on deck lately in our office, preparing all the budget stuff that's going to be coming up. That's it.
Any questions for Andy? Okay.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. Moving right along to item 8, old business. 8A, ARPA, assuming nothing new movement there. We're good there. Okay, great. Brings us to 8B, our front row men of honor, Richard and Mal, Department of Public Works Action Committee update. So come on up.
Good evening, and thanks for having us. And this is going to be our quickest presentation yet. We're at a point in the
Well, I'll believe it when I see it.
keep the glasses on. You'll see it tonight. The project is wrapping up the design development phase, so there's not a lot of new things, but there are some other items that we want to discuss tonight. And with that, if we can go to the first slide. And first of all, for the public, I'm Mal Leichter. I'm the chairman. I'm 62 Wellswood Road. I'm chairman of the Department of Public Works Action Committee, also a member of the Public Building Committee and several other building committees, and glad to be here tonight. So,
And for the record, I'm Richard Steiner, 330 West Street, recording secretary and a member of the DPW Action Committee.
we go to the first slide. The design, as I said, the design development piece of the project is almost complete. We're on target to complete that phase of the study and of the design in mid-March. What's going to happen going forward? First of all the design development documents were sent to a third-party estimator. We want to make sure that whatever dollar is put on the project is not only the thought of the architect, but somebody who does this every day for a living. And so the documents went out. The process includes the third-party estimator will first review the documents. If they have any questions, they'll come back to the architect, Silver Petroselli and Associates, for clarification. If Silver Petroselli needs to bring in some of the consultants they've used to clarify it, that will happen, at which time the TPE, with the third-party estimator, with all of their data clear in their minds, they will go back and they will estimate the project. They'll come back and then give the documents, their estimate, to Silver Petroselli, who will review it, and then there'll be a discussion back and forth to come to a point where they can reconcile any things that may still have been misunderstood and come forward with a final package. That final package, as the schedule first said, and as I said, we're still on target, will be available mid-March. And the formal presentation will be made at our meeting on the 16th of March. And at which time, obviously, it's a public document. Obviously, you will get the full package, and the full package will be available online. So that's it for that. There are some minor changes, and Richard's going to talk about them, at the site that the architect's been working with the staff down at Public Works. And Richard, if you can go into those on the next slide, please. It's coming. There it is.
Since the last time Al and I reported to the town council, there have been a few minor changes to the site development. I just wanted to kind of talk about the highlights. The addition of overhead canopies over the bulk waste containers. Initially, this is really driven by the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. As part of supporting the Clean Water Act, we don't think about things when containers, the bulky waste containers, are down there. They're exposed to rain, sleet, snow, and invariably things get washed out of the containers onto the ground and find their way to places we don't. Some of the contaminants, particularly out of bulky construction waste and other materials. The other benefit that has is that it keeps as much water out of the containers, because aside from sheet metal or scrap metal, the town of Hebron pays the tare weight of what's inside the dumpster. So it's kind of painful when we have any municipality has a container full of municipal bulky waste and it's loaded with snow or rainwater, because you're paying for something that you don't want to pay for. The other advantage of the canopy is that it creates a drier surface, not perfectly dry, but a protected site, not only for the DPW workers who have to constantly, be moving the bulky waste containers, but also for the residents who will be throwing things in. It minimizes the amount of ice and snow and rain. The other thing that kind of came out in the design development was putting the spare containers, rather than having them someplace that they would be potentially in the way of daily operations, was stacking the empty containers side by side next to the ones that would be active for solid waste and recycling. And one of the other things that became apparent when there was a kind of a layout of the traffic flow was that if everybody remembers, the island was, not only did it have the mattress containers in there, but it had the antifreeze and the waste oil, the swap shack in that island. Just the navigation of having to move the trucks in to pull the dumpsters became very, very tight. And so Paul and his team said, well, let's move it to the south side of the site, which is kind of fortuitous because, and I'll talk about my presentation, my participation in the wetlands and for the future slide, but it moved the antifreeze and oil away from where the stormwater migrates into the Judd River. And as a result, it kind of reduced the size of that island, which was one of the other benefits. The other thing that came up and kind of drilling into the details was extending the concrete pad for the two containers that will hold the recycled mattresses. It basically replicates what's down there as far as a hard surface for those containers to be on. It'll protect the bituminous that's around it from any potential damage. And last was creating a kind of like a snow storage area right next to the dumpsters. So it will provide one location upstream of the water course so that as the snow melts, everything will go into catch basins, into oil water separators, and before it is migrated out into the water course. That pretty much summarizes, 6 of the, the major changes to the site. I mean, it was just relocation, not a significant cost in that. As the system, as the design just vetted out and finalized.
The architect also shared with us that there's some alternates that they're looking at, and what we need to keep in mind is the committee, before as we evaluate what we're going to present to you as the final package, you also need to keep in mind that every one of these costs more money, and every one of those over the long term can save some money. So it's a balancing act. Do we want to spend the money up front, or do we want to spend it later? And some of those things were a waste station, for instance. A lot of the newly built sites, newly built town recycling centers. Take, for instance, the most recent one that I'm aware of is in Brantford, where they put in a waste station. And essentially, if you have bulky waste, I mean, the way if you've been to the landfill today, the recycling center, you know that you drive in and Gordy stops you and he looks in the truck and he says, well, that's $3, $5, $20, whatever. The way this would work, would you drive in, stop on the scale, they'd weigh your vehicle, could be a truck, could be a car, drive in, you get rid of the materials that you have to dispose of, you come back out, you weigh again, and they balance up. It would be a per pound or per 100-pound charge, so that everybody's getting treated fairly. That's a way that we could get some revenue, and it would be fair to all who were using the facility. They're looking at putting a resinous floor, plastic coated floor, essentially, what you see on TV with can't remember the name of the company, but we come in a day and we give you a beautiful garage floor. The advantage of that floor is that, and in this case, we would put a high-end resinous floor in. It will resist penetration from chemicals, from gasoline, from oil, from salt, and essentially extend the life of your concrete pad more than if you just had bare concrete. The estimate is that these coatings last about 25 years. So that's something that they're going to present. They're going to present radiant heat just in the mechanics bay. Radiant heat being tubing that goes through the floor with hot water that flows through it. Mechanics often have to lay down on the floor to get underneath the vehicle, or kneel down to the floor, or with those tall ceilings, when you're heating from above, it takes a lot more to get the heat down to the floor. With radiant heat, it just comes up. It is very efficient when it comes to heating. It's also a higher cost to install. They're also looking at photovoltaics for the buildings, solar electricity, and I don't think I have to explain that to anybody. Fire pump house relocation. They're weighing where's the fire pump, and what the fire pump is. I think we quickly talked about it, but it's we've got to have a storage tank and a pump that will pour water out into the site should we have a fire. The overhead sprinkler system, I guess, for lack of a better word, everybody can recognize it. You get sprinklers up in the ceilings. The original plan, as we discussed at the last meeting, was to put it as part of the garage. However, there's also a conflict with that going there, as well as the fuel station going there. And that's still being worked out. But that's, if they choose to put the fueling station up by the garage, they're going to have to move the fire pump out. He brought up a good question. Could we put one on top of the other? And the architect clearly said no, which we won't get into why. We can, but you don't want to hear that tonight, I don't think. They're looking at, and this was interesting to me, because we're on a site that doesn't have any way to get rid of the water other than to put it in tanks. When we wash trucks, that water gets, I'm not going to say polluted, but it gets contaminated with road salt, with other chemicals. And what this system would do is it would take some of the heavy debris out of the water so that they could use it to run or to wash the next set of trucks or the next truck. And over time, what you have to keep in mind is, depending on the size of the tank you put in, we still have to test the water and get the water to a certain level before it can be pumped out. But if you're just washing trucks and then calling the vendor in to empty the tank, that gets to be very expensive. So this reclamation system will save us money on having to remove water from the tanks as often. The example that was given to us was, you put in a 10,000 gallon tank, you have a bad snowstorm like we had a couple of weeks ago. The end of that weekend, you're pumping that tank out. I didn't realize we would use that much water, but good example of where we could save some money. And the last one is a mezzanine in the garage. If you look at the plans, the floor plans, it's all one level. One of the thoughts was make it similar to what's down there now, not in quality or appearance, but try to get additional space. Put a second level above the area where all the parts are going to be stored and the equipment is going to be stored at the east end of the building, right behind the administrative area. Make a second level so you could store more things there, some equipment. We're going to grow. The Department of Public Works is always bringing in new and additional equipment as their responsibilities increase, and we've got to have a place to put it. Better to put it inside than outside. This is a relatively low cost increase. You hear about cheap space. Well, we're not adding any more square footage to the ground, so we're not looking at foundations and floors. But if we can go a second level, then that might be an efficient way to add space. And that's it for that one. We're now going to talk a little bit.
Now,
Yes.
before you move on,
Sure.
2 quick things on that last slide. So the first thing is, I'm all about solar power, and I always have been, but I don't think it's any secret that the federal government is doing away with all those incentives.
Right.
And the state doesn't have a whole lot of money left over for the types of incentives. So solar power has become, by proxy, incredibly expensive to install. And so I think that the benefits are there after 5, 10, well, more like 10, 15 years. So what I would say with these examples, I think we need more cost analysis than just it's a slight increase or it's a this increase. I think the preciseness of the analysis needs to be there if we are talking about potentially adding things in. And so that is what I would advise the committee to focus on.
And not a single one of those, and that comment was made to the architect, not a single one of those is going to fly on it's nice to have. We need to see the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, absolutely.
Right.
And you're right. The solar dollars are going. Actually, I just got in a week under the cutoff at the end of December for my solar.
Yeah.
Commercial solar still is covered for another 6 months to a year we're not going to be there.
Right.
And who knows, will it come back? It might.
Might.
But again, this is a work in progress, and your point is well taken. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Richard, you want to talk a little bit about your exciting time down with the,
One of the things that the committee asked the architect to coordinate with the town, we needed to put a list out in front as a document of all the permits that the project will need to achieve and comply with from start to finish. One of the first presentations was made on February 12th in Inland Wetlands and Conservation. I was a participant in the meeting along with the architect and the lead from the civil engineers. They had a few comments. One was what I just talked about. They really felt that the antifreeze and the oil waste tank should be moved further away from the far southwest corner of the site, which coincidentally, while we were talking about that on evening of February 12th, the architects and engineers were responding and had already moved that out of the way. As part of the meeting, they really deemed that the amount of activity that site is going to see is going to be considered significant area of rework. And as a result, with that threshold, they really felt that it would be in the public's best interest to call for a public hearing. And there is one on March 12th, starting at 7:30. Committee's absolutely in agreement that, public has every right to see the plans and opine as relates to the jurisdictional requirements of wetlands and conservation. I'm not going to go through all the others. These are ones that will have to be achieved along the way. But the committee really felt that we needed to have this document just to make sure something doesn't get missed along the way.
so that takes us to our request for proposal for recycling and MSW pickup, curbside pickup. And I think everybody knows, both on the council here and in the audience, that we did go out for bid. We put out on the street a request for proposal on the 20th of January with bids due on the 6th of February. Richard and I showed up for the bid opening and we had no bids. We did have a representative from one of the local hauling companies that wanted to explain why his company, and we have since followed up with some other vendors that might have bid, and their reasons were very, very similar. And the reasons why they didn't bid is because the contract period was too short. And we knew this was a chance because it's not cheap to gear up to do curbside pickup. They have to buy containers, they have to buy vehicles, they have to hire employees. So the contract period was too short. Capital investment of those types of things was way too high, which made the whole process not profitable for them. They can't do a job that's they're at least not breaking even and seeing a future increase in revenues. So also, if they hired people, it's not only the cost of hiring the people and having the people work during the time when we're picking up curbside. If they have to lay those people off, they have an unemployment obligation also for up to 2 years. And so, it was a reasonable explanation. And since then, he and some other folks have been working with us, looking for alternatives. This may have been the golden goose here. We knew that it was going to be terribly expensive to do curbside pickup for 9 months to 2 years.
The other thing that some of us knew, we needed to have something in the toolbox, and we always had at least two other options that we're vigorously pursuing. And I can't go into details at this point because we're working those through. So I guess what Mel and I want to impart to the town council is there's other things that actually there's three options that we're pursuing right now.
And we should have some detail for our next get together. Hopefully, we may not have it all, but we've been spending a lot of time on this. And the interesting thing, and to show the real union between our committee and you, is we've gotten emails from several of you with some thoughts and some suggestions that I'm going to let Richard talk a little bit about,
Yeah, as part of our meeting,
as well as suggestions from the public, by the way.
Al brought up the emails that came from individuals in the town council. And we wanted to make sure that we were implicitly clear as far as making sure that we know what our homework assignment is. And it's our understanding on the first one would be that we should generate a credit for deleting the transfer station from the design and bulky waste. I just want to make sure that we're following that. It also leads into continuing on this ongoing discussions with Colchester, which we briefly talk about that. Matt Bordeaux has been a contact person between the town of Hebron and Colchester. I spoke to Matt just yesterday. Colchester is very interesting in participating and assisting us in this issue. The one dilemma that they face right now is the same dilemma that Hebron. They're in the process of trying to congeal a budget, and they have timelines. So the message to Matt, to the committee, was they're interested. They want to do a comprehensive and clear and definitive proposal for the town of Hebron. Just give us time. Let us get past the budget process, and they are working on it. Matt is. I happened to chance talk to some other people on other related and said, we're working on it. Although we're working on budgets, we are putting our heads together and trying to congeal a plan. But we just want to confirm that is what is being sought. I mean, Colchester is definitely in play, but is there a desire for us to ask architect engineers give us a value of deleting what would be the overall approximate cost of deleting the transfer station and bulky waste from design?
Maybe from the design, but we lose losing the transfer station itself is untenable.
Yeah.
It provides industry.
Right.
We have the Taj Mahal transfer station.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like we can't, what we have now is awesome.
Yeah.
If we want to pull it from the proposal so that we're just doing the DPW, I might support that. And I'm more likely to support that. That'll be significant cost savings and not force us to close it for any period of time. That allows the construction company to determine what space they need for fencing. We can always cut our fence and cut a new entrance so that our station can be open, or at least kind of in phases. If we can get some cost savings there, like phase 1 is DPW, immediate need. Phase 2 covers on the dumpsters, great, right? Like, we like the environment, but we'd like to also have a spot. I walked it last weekend, is why it's on my mind. It's bad. It's bad at DPW. I mean, we're putting our trucks under essentially industrial garbage.
Mm-hmm.
It is old phone poles. It's like the guy that whipped it up in an afternoon because we couldn't afford to give him anything.
Yep.
Whether or not we can afford to give him anything is obviously still up for debate. My wife made me restart Facebook. Thank you, Brown, for that. I'll pause.
While we're paused, we don't expect to get full answers tonight. We're just trying to interpret what we're requested to do, and you folks definitely need to have the discussion.
Right.
Yeah, that's
our marching orders there. We are your servants. We want to make sure that we come back with a product that is what you're asking. Because candidly, after the meeting, there were a number of people that read the emails, and everybody came up with a different rendition. So I said to Mel, we're going before the town council on Thursday. Let's make sure we have an absolutely clear idea. We are pursuing Colchester. Matt's our point of contact. Yep. That's a given.
Mm-hmm.
The second point is do you want us to pursue updating the RFP for curbside? A request that maybe takes the initial contract out 3 to 5 years or somewhere in there. Again, these are not questions that we need an answer to tonight, but we want to make sure that as a committee, we respond appropriately to that that email. So
So I think, Richard, I think individual council members who are trying to get up to speed just
Yeah.
had questions, and I think we
Yeah,
just need
that's
to
really
take
where it came from.
just need to take a breath
Yeah.
and recognize that folks have questions. There wasn't an official vote
No.
to change your charge. It
No.
didn't come from this group. I think folks are just trying to get up to speed and trying to explore avenues. I think it's pretty clear that the fact that we didn't get any bids from the first RFP, I don't know that changing it to 3 to 5 is really going to make much of a difference.
Well,
at
and
this
Tiffany,
point.
to share that,
Right.
Right.
we're already, without doing an RFP, we've already put questions out on the street. Well, what's the percentage savings per household
Right.
if we were to give you the whole town for X number of years? So we're going to have that information anyways, and that's valid information
Sure.
for us to be able to assess
Yeah.
what a final number comes in.
Yeah.
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 So no, the reason this is on the table tonight is because we know that you have, and we understand it wasn't voted on, and
Right.
obviously we'll be asking for you to discuss it and come back to us and give us an additional charge. We're just trying to start the discussion tonight.
So,
Thank you.
And I think when we discuss it, we have to realize that there's multiple questions in here that need to be distinctly separated
Mhm.
and clarified from the DPWAC
Mhm.
because we've talked about what's going to happen during construction.
Right.
We need to talk about what's going to happen after construction.
Mhm.
And I think we've seen a significant push towards, especially with the previous slide listing out the different options. We want to make sure that we have accurate numbers associated with these options. And that's their job, is to make sure that they have these different options with the dollar amounts so that we can make that decision at the time when that time comes.
Right.
So I think as far as like not modifying their charge, but just letting them know that that's the general gist of, we just need pricing on different options.
Yep.
We'll leave what the options entail up to the DPWAC to kind of give different variations thereof.
Mhm.
But I think as a town council, I think it would be nice of us, especially with new members from when the previous decision was made. I just want to make sure that we're all still on board with the decision that in the interest of safety and of time saving, which is cost savings in construction, the town transfer station will not be open during construction. if we're all still in agreement with that.
I'm in agreement on that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you look at the last sentence there for the public, it says several alternatives are already being pursued, but above that it says the DPW Action Committee requests formal direction from this body. Whether you change our charge, however you choose to make that request, we just want the committee as a whole, your committee, your council as a whole, to give us your direction.
I think what we're telling you tonight is that it hasn't.
Perfect. We've heard loud and clear. DPW Action Committee's heard loud and clear that the public wants more information. And we've got several things that we're going to do, and actually I'm going to do one of them tonight to improve that. We've changed our meeting agenda so that now every meeting will have 2 public comment sections. Some people can't hang around for the whole thing. And some people that are there for the whole meeting hear something during the meeting that, if we only had public comment at the beginning of the meeting, well, they gotta wait till the next meeting to make that comment public. No, we want to be able to talk beginning and end. Again, we're going to follow the same rules you do. We're not going to respond, but it may bring up something wherein, in fact, at the last meeting, we did request that a couple of the commentors come back individually to one or the group and request that we talk more in detail with them. So it could be a discussion as opposed to just a comment. And that's happening. We've had a correspondence received and a correspondence sent portion to our agenda. And along with that, and that goes along with the DPW AC at hebronct.gov email. That will include all the questions, all the answers there. Those questions and answers will not only be disclosed publicly in the meeting, they will be part of the meeting minutes, as well as any other communications we might receive.
This other way of us giving an acknowledgement to somebody who was either used that website, reached out to one of the 7 members, to let them know, first of all, the obligation is respond. We got it. We heard you. But to document in the meeting minutes agenda that it was received. And the worst thing to do is send something to somebody and not hear a response that they even saw it. So,
and that being said,
and that's something that we've been doing for months now. May get correspondence in, we track it.
That being said, we will respond, and it's in writing here, and we will do it. We will respond within 24 hours of anything we get. It would be nice, and I think we can in many cases respond not only within 24 hours, but respond with a complete answer. But there are going to be times when we have to investigate things, look into things. You know, we would like to get everything done within 72 hours, but that's not a guarantee either. But the point is that we will respond immediately, and we will continue to respond and set expectations from the person with the person who asked the question as to when we will get back to them. And as I said, that will then become part of the public record when we present it as part of our communications or correspondence sections in our meeting. And lastly, we've heard a lot of, how come I can't see this document? How come you don't make this available to me? We voted last night. We discussed a month ago at our meeting, the fact that we should do it. We checked with the Department of the Election Enforcement Commission, as well as the Freedom of Information Commission, and they all say, and Keith was a big part of this, they all say that, yep, the law says you only release the information when it's requested, but the law says nothing about if it's not requested. We were advised both by the Freedom of Information Commission as well as our town attorney that it's up to you. If it was prepared for the town, for your committee, even if it only goes to one of you, and you choose that you want to share it, that's your committee's decision. On Monday night, we voted to do that. And right now, our communications subcommittee is working on how and where they're going to put those things out. Right now, it looks like what we're going to do is we're going to segment the information, everything from 2011 up till the new charge back in 23, 24. And then there'll be another section, as I see it, and I'll defer to Jan, he's the web guy here. You'll go to one link and it'll say historical documents, and another tab or click thing will say current documents, and then they'll all be there. So, the one thing we're struggling with, and not looking for an answer tonight, but we need to reach out to you and say, there's a lot of communication. The majority of the communication is on things like Facebook, it's on social media. And where we don't want to get into conversations and we don't want just haphazard comments made, we do want to acknowledge that and work with that. So again, we've got Tiffany who does this for a living. We would value some input from you folks as to how you think we should go about this, and it doesn't have to be tonight, but we would like it to be very, within the next couple of weeks or a month before our next meeting. So,
do you want me to come to your next meeting?
Sure, that'd be great. I'll send you the agenda.
Item
yeah,
or something.
no, absolutely.
One thing I'd like to
Yeah.
suggest from the committee, from a communications perspective, or maybe a historical outlook on just how many years the town has considered this project.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going back to, I heard it's early back in 2004.
Yeah.
There's 2010, 2013, 2015, 2017. So it's to create just for the public edification.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of mythology going on out there.
I agree with you.
And a lot of people, have moved into town recently. They don't understand just how complex and frankly, like urgent the matter is at this point.
Why don't we do
It's
this?
like a graphic that shows like
Yeah.
a timeline.
Why don't we prepare something, share it with you first? Because we want to hit the target the first time. We don't want to put something out there and then have somebody, and within our group, because we consider ourselves one group. You and us together are the ones that,
It's a collaboration.
you technically own the project, and we're as Richard said, we're the hands and feet. We do the day to day. So we will do that. We'll put together something, and we would look for feedback from you on it, and we will get it out there. And it probably should go, I'm thinking off the top of my head, on that same page that says historical and,
Right.
so, read the history, or we'll leave that to you, Jim. You can tell us how to get, and Tiffany, how to get people drawn in to look at it.
I do think, just circling back to what you were talking about with some of these new additions too, like what's the short-term cost of long-term savings?
Mhm.
Where do you realize those savings
Yeah.
over 1 year, 5 year, 10 years?
Right.
Because that's very, informative to the public as well.
I just put geothermal in my house, and don't you think that was a long discussion with lots of spreadsheets? We won't go into that anyway, but a couple of things to wrap up. That first of all, to Claudia, thank you for the invitation. We and everybody in this room knows it, but the audience may not. We've been invited. The Department of Public Works Action Committee has been invited to join the public at Maple Fest. So we're in the process of putting together a schedule, and I'd like to thank all 5 of you, because you all responded in less than 24 hours for getting back to us. Our intent is to man the booth with both members from the town council, members from the action committee. Town council can speak to the policy, the program, their process of what they're looking for. We can talk to the specifics of it. We will have our architect, Silver Petroselli, has agreed and actually have in the past provided documentation. And when I say documentation, it'll be graphical, pictures of all the floor plans, pictures of the elevations of the proposed new facilities, and an overhead view of the site that we'll be able to put up in poster boards. And so we're looking forward to being there, and thank you guys for joining us there. We hope this becomes a very positive education session for the public. The last thing I'm going to do, and you all received this, and you probably haven't even seen it yet, but we were requested by, David Foster. He sent a request to the Board of Selectmen, to the Town Council, and to the Town Manager's Office, and to our committee to read into the record a letter from him. So rather than you do it at your meeting and we do it at our meeting, I'm going to do it right now, if you're okay with that.
Any objection from the council?
Okay. It says, Dear Hebron leaders, it's time to take stock in the leadership of our town. Presently, we are facing a vast expense for the construction of a new town Department of Public Works facility. The current cost estimate by our architects is upwards of $30 million for a town of about 9,300 people. 9,300 souls, I'm sorry. If this construction issue is passed by the townspeople, what will be constructed is an out-of-date and misplaced facility at our great expense. Capital letters in bold, he says, a facility that has no three-phase electrical power, no sewer, no town water, no natural gas, and will be placed at the farthest southern boundary of our town. Also, for a period of 1 to 2 years, it will disrupt the trash and bulky waste handling of the town and require temporary relocation of the DPW functions to various parts of our town. all of which are costs in addition to the estimated $30 million of the construction costs. On top of this expenditure, there is no consideration for the future town development. The town should reconsider the development of the Horton Boulevard property, 117 Kinney Road, which the town purchased for $600,000 several years ago. It was purchased as being slated for municipal use. At that time, a master plan was generated that depicted a well thought out municipal facility complex central to our town center. We can still accomplish this. Let's use these funds for not only the construction of the new DPW facility in the center of town, but also to bring the infrastructure, roads, electrical, sewer, water, natural gas to the site for the future. Keep in mind that we will need a new public safety facility, firehouse and police very soon. Also, there have been discussions for new future town hall and possibly a new combined elementary school. These projects and others will come sooner or later. Please be forward thinking and create a master plan for the town and all future municipal projects. Please pay attention to your fiduciary responsibilities and lead the town in the correct direction. Develop the Horton property. And it's signed David Foster, AIA, Hebron, Connecticut, and copied to all of us. So publicly, I'd like to thank David for his letter. And it will be part of the permanent. And that's it. And we would have been shorter.
I told you, don't make promises.
I know, that didn't seem like that worked out.
Before
Sure.
no, obviously, board is against the thought. The decision was kind of made before I came on. Just for clarification on as to why, if there's cost savings, that's a reason. Why we're closing the transfer station? Was that Silver Patricelli? Who determined it would cost less? Or was it the council determined that?
No, that was not any part of our committee.
Okay. Just again, because as soon as that was said, I saw pens moving. So to forestall 20 minutes of public comment.
Sure.
Just if you could just expand on it more. Again, the council is not even leaning. The council's already said 3 are in favor of closing it. Just so for my benefit, because I know we talked when I first came on, going back to August, but it was just a couple minutes. If you could just explain, to me and hopefully for the public benefit, why the need to close it, just real quick.
Are you referring to during the construction?
During the construction, because I will say I've walked through many scaffolds in New York City. And I, as an elevator constructor, I've been on job sites and it's, 8-foot tall fencing, there is physical space. If there's value to closing it, great. And I would love to be convinced. Having walked it on Sunday, there's room. So again, I'm not trying to be the naysayer specifically,
Good question.
so much as the devil's advocate for
Yeah.
the pens I saw moving
Yes,
when it was said and agreed upon.
good question.
The biggest issue, Sean, is that from a safety standpoint, not only for DPW workers to have that transfer station, bulky waste operational, puts them at risk. It puts site work or the trade contractors, more importantly, residents like you and I, getting rid of our municipal solid waste recyclables and then going down to the bulky waste. We've been consolidating it over to a corner. The site is so small. It right now by itself, where you have this intermingling of public works, heavy equipment, payloaders, backhoes, and you and I down there doing whatever we need to do. That is risky enough. Now you're introducing contractors with heavy equipment. And it wasn't my opinion, it wasn't the committee's. We actually engaged beyond my thought 3 other general contractors who independently came down, and I did not lead them, nor did the committee. And they all said, if you embark upon the path trying to maintain the transfer station as it is in bulky waste, you're doing 2 things. One, you're going to break the construction up into a phased project that's going to cost more. More importantly, you're going to expose a whole bunch of people, contractors, DPW employees, and residents to the risk of getting hurt or worse. And it wasn't just one contractor, it was like three other contractors that independently came down and said, we tried putting a phasing plan together and it just, first of all, it's going to cost a whole lot more money breaking that site up. The other is safety. And the other issue is when you, and I don't want to get into it, but it's a very legitimate question, but just the site grading alone, when you try to go build something new, you're going to create such a elevation difference from what is new versus what's existing. So then you have that issue, where it's now a climb for you and I to go to bulky waste, either over a tremendous topographical change. So there's been 15 years of evaluation of how do we make this site work? Because initially the charts that we got back when it was public building committee, you cannot close the facility. You've got to build something new while it's operational. And we struggled for years with phasing plans and
with other sites to facilitate that.
Okay, so to make sure I understand properly, while it wasn't RFQ or what have you, you have had experts come in, and these experts have used their expert opinions to say, yeah, you cannot do this safely. The project is going to intrude into the current space, and is financially it's unfeasible.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's, but again, it was not a dictate. It was a professional opinion, and things change, and there are other ways to do things, and somebody sitting in your seats can come up with a thought. Don't hold it back. You told us not to be traditional and to think out of the box. Same thing. Please let us know. But
yeah,
you're right.
It really is just the size of the site.
Yeah.
When you think about the overall site, the transfer station takes up about 2/3 of the acreage of that site. When you add in bulky waste down below and up top, there really right now are only 3 arteries of traffic, and 2 of them are in the transfer station. So, during construction, they basically would have to take the middle one because, like Richard was saying, there's so much grading that has to go on that artery of traffic would be untenable for any traffic. So now you would have in and out on the far southern end, single lane. There might be enough room in there for 2 cars to get by.
Not for trucks and trailers.
No, not for trucks and trailers.
Well, the curb cut would have to be expanded.
Yeah.
It's still.
It all just kind of piles on top of it. And again, the professionals are not going to tell us no. Hey, we'll do whatever you pay us to do. But each one of them said you're going to take an 18-month construction and you're going to make it 24 minimum, possibly 36. So that just in itself, I didn't even want to think about the numbers that would add to construction costs.
And just remember at this point, and I think I heard it earlier about the difference of a project with the 2029. It went from 28 to 29 too. Well, just looking at our current numbers, we're increasing by not doing something about a $1.5 million a year. If you look at the spreadsheet that I had shared with you.
Yeah.
So time is money, right?
It's money.
The other thing to expound upon is there are 3 givens that the contractors, we go out to bid, contractor's going to have to deal with. There are 3 things that cannot move that site and are going to have to be worked around. So this compounds, even makes that whole concept of keeping the transfer station and bulky waste operational. The salt shed, it's got to be there. It cannot move. It needs to be available from November to March for DPW. The fuel oil storage facility for the truck, both gas and diesel, will get relocated, but that needs to stay there. And the other one that also should stay there for environmental concerns and not having to go through, because it really is not a good site to move it, is the steel tank that holds the antifreeze and the waste oil. So those are 3 things that a contractor's going to have to understand that they're going to have to navigate. And then we start talking about the transfer station and bulky waste. It became, one of the concerns from the first contractors I met with, and although I've been in construction my entire career, I'm still in it. Well, I was very clear not to leave the jury, and he said, you know, the conflict that you're going to have and keep all this here, you may also chase bidders away, because the more you phase a job, it becomes very difficult for them to put. But what if there's a bad winter? DPW is in and out of this site every other day from late November to April. How do we do what we need to do? You know, and now we got the transfer station. So that was the biggest concern. That, matter of fact, the contractor, who was pretty medium size, said, if you came out with a phase job, I probably would not bid this job, because it's just a lot of unknowns.
We've had too many no bids in multiple projects lately. So, you know, we're sensitive to that too.
Well, thank you for the much more thorough
Yeah.
answer than I expected.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
It's a good question.
You want to talk
Very
about
good question. Thanks.
very quickly? We know we took a lot of time. I just wanted to update you. One of the other projects that Mel and I are at the Gilead Hill School, there are 2 projects are out to bid. Bids are due next Friday, the 27th. That's the re-roofing project and the roofing related projects. Both Mel and I attended the pre-bid meeting and conference and walkthrough on Monday and Tuesday. We had over 10 roofers that participated those 2 days, and over 10 contractors for it's called the code violation project. There's some things that are up there at the existing school that we're addressing.
We're going to get bids on this one.
Yes.
Hold you to
Yeah, from my lips, I got
Good job, Chair.
Thank you so much.
Thank
it.
you.
Guys, we
Thank you.
appreciate your work.
Thanks for the work. All right, that moves us along to Keith's favorite agenda item. I know he's ready. Item 8C, review revisions to employee handbook of personnel policies and procedures. So we started with the first 40 pages, and those are a part of the agenda packet. And they were sent to counselors to read in advance, simply because 40 pages is a lot for people to read in 5 minutes. So you will understand why we sent that in advance to our counselors. So Keith and I both kind of went through and had a lot of comments, had a lot of revisions. So, you know, you started this process. How do we want to lead the discussion tonight?
I mean, some of these are simple, you know, he, she, they, their kind of
Mhm.
things that like we don't need to get into. Some of them are also just simple, you know, bulleting issues like the stuff that you see on page 9.
Mhm.
I put a couple of comments on there. If no one has any objections to the bulleting revisions, those can just be handled. I mean, Dory is more than capable of handling those updates. I think the only things that we really want to discuss is like if we scroll down some of the things, you know, that I had questions and commented on. I guess one of the first ones we get to is on page, I'm hoping it's page 10. Page 10.
Yeah. KP, or we can refer to KP1.
KP1. Sounds good.
Yep.
There is in that paragraph, it talks about, you know, what accommodations can be had under the ADA. And, you know, of course, one of those was medical marijuana. And then they also had smoking or tobacco use, which, you know, first off, getting an ADA accommodation is unique in each circumstance and is frequently subject to changing laws and guidelines as time goes on. So I didn't think that putting anything like specific in here is maybe necessarily helpful, apart from strictly saying, you know, if you get an ADA accommodation, then you have an ADA accommodation. If you don't, then you don't, kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I don't necessarily know if we want to remove those specific call outs and just say, if it's ADA, it's ADA. If it's not, it's not.
No issue.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
Too.
KP2.
KP2,
It followed with a page number for the
11, page 11, KP2.
KP2 page 11 is probably the best way, like, going forward.
That works. That works for me.
Before you go, do you mind if we add interjections as needed? I think if desired. Well, some of these, like say I have something on KP5, for example. Would you like me to say, hey,
Well, I don't know. Do we want to go down each one, or do we just want to go to the first one that somebody has an issue? I mean, each one of the KPs was something that I didn't want to make the decision on unilaterally.
I think we should cover the ones that we didn't want to make decisions on unilaterally, because I had a couple of those as well.
Okay.
And then I think we can get into individual counselor concerns, but certainly if it's on
As
one
we
of the
get
ones
each
we're
one.
discussing.
Generally,
Yeah.
I will say I agreed with the these, there's those. There's
Yeah.
some of
Yeah.
those there.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's good to go through it quickly.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
we put months of work into it.
You got it.
So KP2 on page 11.
Yeah.
Consider. Hold on, I got to shrink this down a little. Consider revising to town manager within their authority under the town charter. Yeah, so the original sentence was, these policies are not all inclusive, final discretion or interpretation is up to the town manager. And I think, just that could be cleaned up a little bit with just saying that the town manager will act within their authority under the town charter.
Yeah.
For that whole sentence, take that whole sentence out and
Well, maybe.
Yeah, probably put that in after, okay.
Why don't you just stick it at the end? Shall be that of the town manager, comma, within their authority
yeah.
under the.
Okay, go with that.
within the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I would do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Simple.
Sorry, it's been a while since I looked at
No,
this.
sorry.
KP3.
KP3 also on page 11. That one, I've had this happen a couple times going through it. It's like reiterated and reiterated
Yeah.
and reiterated. Just, they are not contractual nor intended to be contractual or represent any agreement. Like, there's a whole thing at the beginning that says that these are not legally binding if there's another
Mhm.
legal agreement.
Yeah.
So, we can just wipe that sentence, just saving space.
Yeah. KP4, page 13.
What's
Did you have
no,
one?
I forgot to put a comment in on that one.
Oh, you did?
Is everybody okay with me adding that on page 12?
The town manager shall keep an index of all town departmental rules and
Yep.
regulations. The index and all departmental rules and regulations shall be published and made readily available to employees, administrative officers, and elected appointed town officials upon request. I don't have an issue with that. Counselors?
I imagine they already do, so it's good to reiterate.
Sean's fine with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool.
And yes, I'm fine.
KP4,
Dial-a-ride.
yep, page 13. Dial-a-ride drivers shall receive an uncompensated or compensated lunch break as their individual work assignments may require.
What does that mean?
That was written obviously in response to one specific employee insisting upon a paid lunch when their job descriptions did not agree with that.
Probably, but
Is my assumption.
As-
It was written,
yeah.
and it's a specific response.
as it's written is contradictory and
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we want to reach out to Dial-a-Ride and clarify.
and find out how that affects.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yes.
If that person
Pick one
works for dollar.
Yeah.
and go with it.
Because as it is, I don't know what that means.
I know they have a lot of fun. It's not allowed to stay there and
Right.
eat with them, and how about they get paid that? I don't know, but let her answer that. I don't have the answer.
Okay. Sounds good. Scott, let me see something. KP5.
55 would be next on page 19.
That's a busier page.
You're 19. No, you're right. Yep. Yes, 19.
Yep.
I apologize.
Mhm.
Okay. Here we go. Should the temporary assignment continue for an extended period of time, and it is unlikely the employee will resume their original duties, the employee, forgot to do there.
Yeah.
Will be transferred to the new position and paid according to the provisions of subsection C. So that basically constitutes a no application promotion. Are we as a town council cool with that?
I mean, seems to be like it's directly related to transfer or demotion. Is more what it's referencing, because section C is really way to pay on transfer or demotion, and then temporary assignment would assumes. I mean, we don't have enough steps. The only step is from worker director.
Right.
So no, you don't get a free promotion because we have to. A director comes before us, this board. So there is no free promotion to director because you can't do that. You can transfer between and amongst directors as job.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Technically, this would.
Yeah, technically.
Because what it's saying is if you are assigned a temporary duty, so let's say the director leaves, right? And the senior guy steps in as interim temporary director, right?
But that goes through us. There is no interim temporary director. That's us. And we decide who the temporary, unless
we decide permanent. We don't decide.
I just don't know. Could you do an interim director?
So I think,
I don't want to put you on the spot.
no, yeah, the scenario that I could change the scenario. Scenario is like we have a head mechanic and now we got an assistant mechanic. So head mechanic's out for a surgery for a month and he fills that position. He's entitled to a percentage of an increase, not his actual full salary, but if he's working outside of his classification, then it's a percentage that is expected to, because and then when the full-time mechanic would come back, he would go back to his position, but we could have the town attorney, labor attorney look at that if you want.
Yeah, that's just why I asked the town council, because this is one. So in that situation, let's say the head mechanic goes out because they blow out a knee, right? So they go and they have knee surgery. They're 65 anyways, and they're like, you know what? My knee's better, but I ain't coming back because I'm 65 and I'm retiring. The guy or gal, the person who is in that higher position, temporary, as long as they have been temporary for more than 30 days, you can just make them permanent, no questions asked. So I just think, that doesn't necessarily give other mechanics or other employees an opportunity to apply for that higher position.
Yeah, I don't think that was the intent of it, but if that does.
I'm not saying it was the intent of it. I'm just saying that as it reads.
Yep.
Yeah, what we would do, even how that reads, we would make them apply.
Right. So I just think, maybe we kick this back to the attorney and ask them to reword it so that it includes an application.
Yeah, includes an application process.
Kind of thing.
So this is the difference between private sector and government sector. Yes, for private sector, like who cares? Yeah, give them the job. Government sector, you can't.
It's competitive. Yeah, what do you call that? Competitive.
Oh, what is
You're the union guy.
You're the union, competitive.
When you have to post stuff.
Well, yeah, you always have to post a job position. You can't just get promoted. You can get reclassed now.
Yes.
You can get reclassed. In state government, you can apply for reclassification. It's reviewed by a panel.
For the sake of it being 830, KP6. Because if this was a private versus government misunderstanding.
On the same page, KP6, the holiday bonus. There's no guardrails on dollar amounts or budgeting or I don't even know where this would fall in the budget. Like if we would budget an annual amount for bonuses or not. So I just think that needs to be fleshed out.
So that is in the budget, and I inherited that when I took over 15 years ago. And what it is a $50 Christmas bonus for the employees.
Okay.
Full-time employee.
What line item is it?
I don't have the line on the top of my head, but I know it's listed in the, as a Christmas bonus in the budget. It's been in there for years.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Okay.
I mean, as long as it's detailed in the budget as holiday pay,
Yeah.
then that's something that
If that could be highlighted when our for the
Yeah,
budget season, that would
I know
be
it's a-
ideal, so we
I'll
can
make
see it.
sure that-
Is it a holiday bonus?
I don't want to speak on turn.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
100%.
we'll find it and highlight it.
Thank you.
that brings us to KP7, also on the same page. I know I'm tearing this page up. It's the only one I read. See definition of pay period above. So in G, a pay period is 1 week. But if we go back up to, I know I said above and I should have said where exactly. Under under work structure, it's above. It classifies a pay period as 2 weeks. It's just a 2-week pay period. So just G needs to be reworded from 1 week to 2 weeks so that it matches.
Well, no, I think what you needs to be is pay. It's a difference between pay period and pay frequency. The pay period is the 1 week payroll. Pay frequency is how often you get the check. This just needs to not say period because the frequency does say you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. But a week is defined as Monday to Monday or Sunday to Sunday, whatever it is.
Okay.
So if you just, it
They need to
doesn't say
line up.
period.
Yeah, they need to line up.
Yeah, just basically use different words for the two things. That was just more of a typo thing.
The other thing I just add in here, I mean, it says all employees hired after February 1st, 2011. I mean, that was 15 years ago. I mean, can we just simplify that sentence to say all employees are required to have their paychecks?
So do we have?
Well,
employees?
Or it
there,
could be
there
even
might
have
be
to
some
say that.
grandfathered in there, right? But I agree, all new employees.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
simplify that a little bit because it's a little odd to have
Yeah.
a date from 15 years ago.
I think Gordy's been here before that.
There's a couple that agree.
I'm sure there are. I just,
And that's true, bargaining unit contract, that's.
Yeah.
We can change this.
Okay. great.
And I
Thank
can
you.
actually take care of TP9 for you, page 20.
Nice.
Okay.
Third line, if Christmas falls during the work week, that's just a typo. It should say work weekend. Because it makes perfect sense if you swap out work week with weekend.
Perfect.
Excellent.
I
Okay.
did not understand that the way.
There you go.
Right. Thank you.
Well, because it was written wrong.
So Dory, page 20.
Sorry, I'm still trying to catch up here.
Yep, I'll take it up. We're going as fast as we can, but we can only go as fast as you can write.
Okay,
So let me know when you're ready for KP9 on page 20.
I am ready for KP9 method.
Third line, fourth word, change from work week to weekend.
Weekend.
And now it makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, will make sense.
That makes me feel better.
Mhm.
That's an easy one, thanks.
KP10 on the same page under E, whenever a holiday falls within paid vacation time, the holiday will not be charged against earned vacation. Does that also apply to sick time?
I would say no, because sick time is never applied during a holiday. You just wouldn't apply sick time.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so
I mean, I would assume you would never apply vacation time either. You know what I'm saying?
okay, that's sick time. KP11.
Yeah. I
If
think
it's
we-
a holiday, it's a holiday.
The holiday is
Do what it was,
Sorry.
whatever may apply, but yeah.
Vacations, that might take more.
Yeah, so just add or sick at the end. Or sick time.
Or sick time.
And then I just had a question on this. Because we got a redlined version from the lawyer, and this was redlined 7 to 12. Is that something that changed this year? Changed by the lawyer?
This is what, so we went to the employees as well.
Mhm.
And that's something Fran, remember when Fran, the town clerk, was in, she wanted an extra week's vacation.
Mhm.
She thought the span was too far before you get the third week. So they're asking council to consider changing that. That's why that was redlined.
Okay, so this is up for council.
Well, this is up for our approval.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good.
But it was suggested by the employees, not
Yeah,
not our council SEL.
Right, right.
got it. And just for clarification, I know this is not
obviously the union contracts take precedence over this document.
Mhm.
So what is the current union structure? Is it the 7 or the 12? I'll have to go back and look at
Are
that.
they in sync? We can get back to them on that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know if all the contracts are in sync.
Because I just know we're going to really myth the union if we change it to benefit all non-union.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be like,
Correct.
that's not cool, dude.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know,
I just don't have the exact answer. Right.
Yeah.
Sure, that mirrors the union contract.
I mean, if we have that, then we can make the decision on what that should read. That'd be great.
I'm very cognizant of that, doing that. We try to we don't treat the non-union in practice any worse. Whatever the union gets, we got to give that.
Yep. And that's fine if we're bringing it into sync. I just had that question on that. Does anybody else have any? Okay.
No.
KP12 is on page 21. After the initial fiscal year of employment, vacation leave shall be applied to each eligible employee as of July 1st, subject to paragraph E below. Is it annual accrual or monthly accrual? Because applying all of their vacation on July 1st doesn't make sense with a monthly accrual, which we just got done doing monthly accrual in the paragraphs above.
So they accrue their sick time monthly.
Right, but this is about vacation. And it is showing that you're accruing vacation per month.
Right. It says
So-
0.83 days
Right.
per month.
Mhm.
So why are we applying all the vacation leave as of July 1st if they're accruing it monthly? It would be like an incremental.
Right.
Yeah.
Something to do with payroll. They put it on your thing that you're eligible for so many weeks with just so many years of service, but still they can't use more than what they've earned. So when you get your pay stub, it's on the pay stub what you actually have for hours.
Okay. Number 3, I just think needs clarification.
Yeah,
It does not.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't read well with the charts above.
And I'll hop in here on item 4. So I think I would ask you, Andy, and Dory to look at this section pretty carefully. The way this is written about vacation leave, it basically allows for any director to just deny vacation at any given time in town hall because we are understaffed in almost every single department. I don't like the way it's written. I think you can have any department argue insufficient staff coverage. We need to avoid burnout. People need to take their vacation. So I would take another crack at that and figure out a way to write it in a way that's not so expansive as to how vacation is going to be denied, because that's probably one of the most expansive paragraphs I've seen about denying vacation leave. I'm not an HR expert. My husband is. He could probably give you a sentence or two, but I'm just not comfortable with that. Our staff need to take vacation. And I feel like when I'm reading that, I'm like, well, if I'm in an understaffed department, it doesn't sound like I'm going to be able to take any vacation because my supervisor can just say, well, we don't have sufficient staff coverage. So it's concerning.
It may read that way that the intent of that was mostly for UPW. Like if you're a snowplow truck driver, you shouldn't be going to Disney World in the month of January.
I think there's a way to write it because this handbook is given to all employees.
Sure.
And so if I'm an office employee and I'm reading that,
Yep.
then I'm going to have a very different view of it than if I'm an employee that's expected to work holidays. And so I think that needs another.
We can address that.
Yeah.
That's specific to winter or inclement
Yeah.
operations, which people are hired for. And so,
You know, we have to be mindful that people need to take their vacation.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
13, page 25. Or is there one before that?
It's just big page breaks, I think.
It is.
I think there was a hard break.
There was,
Yeah.
yeah, we can fix all that. I'm just
That's all
like, yeah.
formatting that
Yep.
will be corrected.
So
Red line.
keeping 13, page 25.
Mhm.
Essentially clarification on
Seasonal and part-time employees.
for part-time, but
Oh, yeah.
but you still stay employed even if you're not, like, you're still a part-time employee, even if you're in between, like if you're a summer and fall employee, you're still technically an employee in the summer. You're just not working.
Well, I get what you're saying, but the way I was reading this, and again, to Tiffany's point, this document covers many different employment types within the town. But if I was, let's say I was a summer lifeguard down at the pond, right? And I only work for 2 months in the summer. So I work for the town for a total of 60 to 70 days. Even though I may be entitled to some sort of earned time, I would not be eligible to take that earned time until I had been employed for 120 days. So I could take that time 3 months after I stopped working for the town.
Yeah. So or next summer, if you're still considered an employee.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, if I'm some kid, you know, some part-time kid or whatever that's, you know, working one season, there's no guarantee that they necessarily would come back. I just think,
Right.
I just think maybe, and I know this section has different scenarios for different types of.
It does.
Yeah, I think maybe just for workers that work less than 120 days, they just maybe need to have a separate paragraph broken out for how it would pertain to them.
This was specific to the seasonal part-timers for Parks and Rec that work most of the summer from spring to like November 24th.
Yeah. Okay.
And they typically come back. They get laid off and then they come back. So that was specific for the ones that do that. But I understand where you're coming from, and we can write that for somebody that doesn't come back or only works that 120 days.
Yeah, what happens
Yeah.
to them?
I mean, you know, just as kind of, if they are eligible to earn for whatever period they earn for, I would at least like them to be able to take that time in their last couple of weeks that they're employed, maybe, you know, or something. I don't know. I didn't really get into the weeds of it. I just because I am not an HR professional. I apologize.
Looking for clarification.
Yeah.
What's next? 14. Oh, let me just make sure there's none. I do not want to miss Tiffany's notes either. But no, next is KP 14, page 28. It's only 40 pages, guys. Bear with us. This is we're in the weeds, but this is important.
Yep.
Page 28.
28 is important.
KP 14.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Oh, military leave.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to hit you on this one as a veteran. Okay. So paragraph B, can we send that back to the lawyer? Because that is not in compliance with CGS 7-462. That one made it past the paralegal.
Wow. Not past you.
Not past you.
See, there you
You
go.
got to stand up for it.
You're an SME in the area.
All right. You had a
Yeah, I would,
page 29. Tiffany had a question.
yeah, I would just look at the wording of that.
Just cut it, slash and burn.
Yeah, or just cut it. Yeah,
There's no reason. It seems like it's written.
I think I would end that sentence, Dory, at just matters of a personal nature, which I would end it at during non-working hours. I think when we start listing observances and ethnic holidays, I don't really like that phrasing at all. I would just end it at non-working hours. I think brevity is the soul of wit. So just as simple as possible. That'd be great. That was it on that. Just think it's superfluous.
Yep. Okay. That works for me.
Items of a personal nature.
And yeah, actually, I took notes and everything. I also agree with remove. I know I'm a little less wordy.
KP 15, same page under section 5 on that page. At the discretion of their supervisor, part-time employees also may be granted time off without pay for personal reasons. That I really think should fall under the very next section, which is leave without pay, rather than under personal days,
Right.
because it's leave without pay.
Right.
It's not
Correct.
a personal day.
Personal day.
It's not a
You get compensated.
personal day.
Right. So kind of just take that sentence out of there. I think it actually it's described under leave without pay, so it's just superfluous. But if it's not under leave without pay, we can add it down below. But I'm pretty sure under leave without pay, it says that the supervisor has discretion.
And if you find that and you find it's repetitive, just delete it entirely and there you go.
And then the very next one, KP 16 under 8A, provided that the position remains vacant or is filled by temporary appointment until the expiration of such leave. I put a suggestion in there. I don't know if other people have comments on this, but something like the town is not required to hold the position until the employee returns, or something like the employee doesn't necessarily have rights to the position if it's filled while they are out.
My reading of that was that the intent is to hold them. So I went from the other side. The intent is you can give them a leave of absence with the intent to hold their position, almost like a sabbatical, a teacher. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is how I read it. I don't know. I read it as the town manager can say, yes, take a sabbatical, take some time. We're going to keep your spot open. We might fill it with a temp, but when you're ready to come back, you can come back to your spot. You're not getting paid in the meantime, but we're going to hold it open as long as we can. Was how I read the intent. I don't know. I mean, the wording is definitely could be either way.
And this is totally separate from like an FMLA claim, correct?
Yeah, this is
a totally different.
This is at town manager discretion. Yeah, because FMLA would be protected.
Yeah.
So I think this is giving the town manager, Andy, the right to protect the position.
This would be something. This would be something similar to the state side for allowing someone to pursue a master's degree.
Yeah.
You know, in those rare, I haven't seen one of those awarded in decades, but you know, there's still a provision in the.
I mean, sabbatical is a pretty commonplace in higher ed too.
In higher ed, but not.
Yeah.
Higher ed has most of that. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I see where you're coming from. Yeah. I would just clarify the wording on it.
Yeah, we could probably just clarify the wording, but I'm not unopposed to it.
I mean, it's right. If we want to keep good people, if they need to take a month off, we want to be able to keep good people.
Yeah, I agree.
But if we can maybe get the word just to make it more clear that whatever the intent is that's a right that we want you to have. Yeah. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I agree.
If somebody, we had a guy had a hip replacement and he ran out of sick time and vacation time, but he didn't want to get fired. He rehabbed, and the rehab he got done within a year's time frame, so he could come back. So his job was held for him.
Yeah.
That's power you should have.
Yeah.
As the CEO of town.
Right.
Cool.
17, page 30? 17, the next page, that's on page 30. C section 9. So FMLA, it kind of was the same thing as the personal leave and the leave without pay.
Yeah.
Right. They started FMLA before we started FMLA. So I am almost entirely certain that is duplicated below. So I think we can just nix it.
Yeah. Agreed.
And then page 33 to the 18. Thank you, sir. And we are almost there.
Almost there.
So 30, almost the last one? Or possibly the last one? No, there might be more. Just not all.
And yeah, this is under FMLA at the discretion of the town manager. An employee that does not return to work after expiration of the leave may be required to reimburse the town for payment of medical insurance premiums unless the employee does not return because of a serious health condition or other. I mean,
it comes down to legality.
Yeah, why is that in there?
If it's a legal clawback, like let's claw it back. If it's not a legal clawback, let's not claw.
Is that required by FMLA law to put that in there?
We'd have to ask the attorney.
Yeah, can we ask, because that does not make us look great.
Yeah, and my understanding of FMLA is that the period that is covered by FMLA is covered by FMLA, and when it expires, your decision to continue, not continue, go off and write a book, whatever, everything that was protected under that umbrella is not then subject to negation.
No,
But again, we should have the paralegals look at that.
please do.
Because if it's not a good look, you're right.
No.
But yeah, I mean, we need every dollar we can get.
Yep.
So if it's a legal clawback, I'm all for clawbacks.
Yeah. I don't think we need it that badly.
Well, I mean, it depends. But again, I think if it's covered under the FMLA
It's covered
umbrella,
under FMLA.
And there's no clawback.
Yeah,
Yeah, then there's
I
no
would
clawback.
have to see where that's written in.
Yeah.
But
I'm not against removal.
No, you've got a KP 19 under page 38. You're almost done.
That one's
Pages
easy
left.
because that's just moving, it's just moving a section to a different section. No, I'm already here. Oh, there.
okay, yeah, page 38.
Yeah.
Page 38 under number 4, confidentiality.
Mhm.
Why is this under appointment instead of employee conduct? Yeah, because I don't think confidentiality is necessarily under the broader heading of hiring. Confidentiality is under, like, after we hire you, we expect you to be confidential,
Right.
kind of thing. So I think that just needs to be moved into, I don't know, probationary period or general employee conduct.
Just move it into conduct and renumber appropriately.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
I missed my calling. I should have been an editor.
Sure seems that way.
It's great.
All right. That's one of the efforts of moving along. And that's 40 pages. That's 40.
Yeah.
Did anybody have any other
Questions, comments, concerns?
questions, comments, or concerns?
When's the rest of it gonna be done?
Well, Pete and I are going to undertake that
Okay.
project
Budget.
for you.
Yeah, seeing as how we are plunging into March, let's put that on the agenda for April.
Yeah. I would.
I think March was a little aggressive. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, guys.
That's not good. Table it until the first referendum.
We got some other fish to fry.
So, I got one more question regarding that. We went through half of the document, so we've got some questions from the labor attorney, Nick Rello. You want us to send that to him now with half of it done, or you want to wait till we get the whole thing done and send it as one document to be reviewed with all the questions and come back?
I would send it now, because if they have things for us on the first half,
Yeah.
those are easy ones we can bust out.
Yep.
Before we start tackling the
Just
second.
looking for direction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree. Let's try to, because if we can wrap up those first 40 pages, then we can, yeah.
Right.
I agree. All right.
Great.
Okay,
No, that was fun.
that was,
No.
okay. Alrighty, so that brings us to item 8D, Homestead Exemption Ordinance, which we'll revisit in the fall, but we're keeping here in perpetuity. So now we'll move to item 8E, the Town Center Project, America 250 update. I think we had that update during
Yeah, she
public
did it
comment.
during public comment.
So are there any further updates?
Not that I'm aware of unless somebody.
Unless Holly is online. Does Holly have any further updates on the 250 committee? You can unmute if you'd like to add something. And if not, I'll move on. Okay,
Yeah, that's what we were told was going to be discussed.
all right, great.
Thought we had that earlier.
So that brings us to item 8F, finalize the 2026-27 CIP budget. So you have in front of you the latest CIP. We have some project balances in the amount of $15,929 we can look at. And we have the proposed CIP budget here, which is, hold on, let me pull it up. We're sitting at 1.6, we're sitting at $1,623,689. And we do need to finalize this tonight so that the town staff can finish finalizing the town budget. So it looks like the fire panel went down and that's reflected in here. So we got a good,
The cost of
the cost went down. So that's
why.
that's good. I'll go on the record and say I still think it's a little too high to go at referendum at 1.6. So I will open it up. I won't read the motion quite yet, but I'll open it up for discussion and see where the council is. I will ask one initial question. For the road resurfacing amount, how often do we spend down the entirety of what we asked for in CIP? Every year we spend down all of the money.
We should be spending $1. Yes, we have more road repairs than we have money for. That's for sure.
Okay.
Because I think you'll also see that in addition, so and we'll get to this when we do the budget,
Mhm.
but there's 365,000, 350,000 in CIP,
Mhm.
but in the general fund budget, there's also an additional 300,000 of road repairs.
Okay.
So I think what they do is they work through CIP first for the major projects, and then if there's anything left over, it's in that general fund section where that's where they fill in the gaps, do emergency road repair and other
So
and whatnot.
just to be clear, you're pretty close. You're right on. So major projects that are hundreds of thousands of dollars where we bring companies in, whether it be a chip seal or an overlay or parking lots, that's all registered. So finance, we have to send that into the state for our lots of reimbursement. So we do those first, and that's pretty much what CIP money should be going for. The other money that's in the operating budget is for the catch basins and cutting of the trees and guardrails and all the other stuff that they do as well. So it's a combination of both, but they do some projects out of the operating budget. So the CIP, we're running over 80 miles of town roads, so that's 160 lane miles. The plan was hopefully if we were going to go out to bonding, we were going to put a little bit of money in there to try to get caught back up. And if anybody's driving the roads after this winter, you can see what's going on. I mean, it was a tough year, but I'm not trying to be a salesman here. That's just a fact, but we do the best we can with what we got. But every 10 years or so, if we're going to get a project and we could, do a bonding project, we could throw, like the last time we did the parking lots for the schools and fire departments, and when we did sewer stuff. So we tried to drew up some of that stuff. But yeah, so it's going to be a tough budget season. You're not wrong, but I think that's one of the town's largest, fixed assets. So if you don't take care of it now, it's going to cost more later.
Well, we have to do our due diligence and ask and make sure that if they're
Absolutely.
asking for 350,000, that they're going to use the 350,000. Okay. I'll open it up to the council for greater discussion.
Andy, what about that dump truck? So what is the situation? That's used, obviously, that would be used to plow roads.
The larger ones, we have like 10 major routes that we use. A larger dump truck. There's also a smaller dump truck that's in there as well. That's a Mason dump, but things like 25 years old. It takes a year to get it going. It's like anything else. If you're a financial analyst or a budget, you're starting to put, like we did, like with the fire truck, you're starting to put good money after bad. It's going to need a transmission or it's going to need an engine, and what are you really? How much life you're going to get out of putting it into a 25-year-old truck? Something else is going to go. So the average for replacing the perfect world would be like 15 to 20 years. But what you do is you have that rolling stock spreadsheet, and we have a 20-year replacement, 18 to 20 years for a plow truck, 25 for fire trucks, 10 for pickups. What we do is when it comes into that block or that year, that time frame of lots to line up, we evaluate it then and say, hey, can we get a couple more years out of this? Is this as bad a shape as we thought it was going to be? This one definitely is. And then we'll have pictures of it during the budget. You can see what it looks like.
Which dump truck are you referring to? The Mason or the large one? The large one you're talking about?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, large one. Yeah, that was the biggest price tag. Yeah, out of those two trucks.
Just, what we've been doing is we've been buying a lot of used equipment from state. For Parks and Public Works, Fire Marshal, ACO, dog warden, and we've done pretty well there. Instead of buying, brand new vehicles that pickup trucks up to $80,000 now for something we would need with a plow on it, and it doesn't leave the zip code. So if the state's getting rid of one with 30,000 miles on it, we can save a lot of taxpayer money. So we've been doing that quite a bit.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean, as far as like something that is, again, not to say that it's any of these are like reasonable versus unreasonable, but something that'll make a significant enough dent to kind of lower that while still being something that, if we consider down the road that we want to use some other creative funding or something or whatever, I think that dump is probably the best thing for pushing. You know, worst case scenario, we put that on as a priority for next year, and everything just kind of shuffles down the road. Best case scenario, you know, we find some mid-year funding somewhere, you know, and we purchase it because you know 300,000 is something that's not out of the realm of possibility if
Right.
we find some surprise funding somewhere.
Right.
So, plus it doesn't really, it's just kind of, the whole rolling stock it's like Andy said, it's on a cycle.
Yeah. Sure.
So we're
Yeah.
just kind of migrating everything one more step back. And if there's a time when we're able to catch up, we can catch up. So
Yeah.
that would be my suggestion, or
Okay.
making a kind of adjustment this year. It makes a meaningful impact to this number, bringing it down into the 1.3 rate.
1 point upper twos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
1.29.
Still 1.3.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
You don't want to be a salesman about it?
No.
We do want to be self-made about it.
But you know, so it's a meaningful number, but it's a number that if something breaks our way in the future, we can get caught back up to it
Yeah.
without breaking the bank.
I agree.
You know, I mean, because you look at some of the other stuff, like Andy said, you're never going to get caught up if you push road resurfacing.
No. No.
And as far as the rescue pumper, that is a huge ticket item that pushing into next year, not knowing what next year's broken list is going to be, we could be really shooting ourselves in the foot.
And I understand from no, I agree. I just want to make sure when people ask for the money that they're going to
Yeah,
use
no,
it. But
I just, wanted everybody to kind of understand where I'm coming from.
also with the fire truck, I understand that there's a $500,000 grant attached to that.
We received a $500,000.
Okay.
So purchase the truck, yes.
So yeah, that's.
So that's going to take it down.
No,
Wow.
that's what brought it to
I
7.
think that's what brought it.
That
to
is
that.
what it.
It was 1.2.
Man,
Yes.
those are fancy fire trucks.
Our director said, that's the funny thing. It's not really.
Yeah, no.
No.
Basic.
No.
Yeah, they'll just meet their needs.
You weren't here for the presentation where it was $1 million last year or the year before.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of that much already. Huh?
So what happened was we went light last year on CIP because we were hoping we were going to be able to do some bonding, and we were going to pay for the rest of the fire truck out of some bonding instead of taking that kind of hit. So that's a big ticket out of that fire truck. But I think because we got the grant, as Tiffany said,
Yeah, that's what I can see in the narrative.
I see.
Yeah.
you just got to keep in mind. I know that's a tough number and it's a tough budget season, but the request did come in at 5 million, and I trimmed it down to the
Yeah.
No, you did. Yeah.
And it's replacing two?
No.
It's one vehicle that has the utility to replace 2 current ones.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, it's replacing two Rescue 110 and Engine 110.
Yes, we'll be those crews will be crewing the rescue pumper.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Yeah, understood.
All right.
So that's the agita with that large amount of money for the fire truck coming out of CIP. We were hoping to get some bonding money to cover that.
And I think we're all in agreement that we're working around keeping that in the budget. Like we want, like the money, like we've already got half of it paid for. We're trying to figure out a way to keep it there.
Sure.
And get it to pass. And tell people, hey, your roads are going to be plowed an hour later seems to be the best way to do so. Get it? In an ideal world, we give you the 5. I think,
For me.
Keith is being nice. I think the answer on item number 5 is just no. And we can couch it in good terms, but no, maybe next year. I think it says, and even then, I think it's most likely just no. Well, we'll look at it next year.
Everything just kind of gets shifted.
It just shifts.
It just gets
It
shifted.
just shifts. That's all.
Well, until it rusts into pieces.
Yeah, but that's what the
Until
fire.
there's no more shifting, and then we have to mod.
Yeah. I mean, I could support that. I could support pushing the large six-wheel dump truck to next year
Mhm.
and keeping the rest of the items as there because I want to be mindful of the grant that we have coming for that rescue number.
And 1.2 is very different than.
I have 1 million. I mean, just I'll have the accountant check my numbers. I have $1,293,689 is the new CIP number.
So you carry the one,
Did I carry the one?
Yeah.
I'm a communications person. Not a-
20% savings. I mean, off of, I mean, it's,
Mhm.
and then I know, Andy, your pencil was razor sharp when you wrote this 1.6, and we're just slashing and burning at this point in the hopes of getting a budget passed. Because this was a sharp pencil based on the initial proposals that you received.
And I totally understand. You know, you're looking, I'm not gonna spill the beans right now, but Brian said over there, we were looking at a 13% at one point, and I'm chiseling away at that. And so it's not 13 anymore, but with numbers coming in like insurance at 16.5 and
Well, insurance, you can't really.
then, you know, the school budget.
Right.
Quite frankly, just to get a budget passed this year with everything all in, I'm over 11 right now as of today. I'm hoping to get that done a little bit more, but probably gonna have to cut $3 million out of everything to get this thing to pass.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's about that kind of year. We didn't do a motion yet, did we?
We have not done a motion yet.
No.
I purposely chose not to because I figured we would have some discussion. So
Yeah.
All right, so I'll move that in accordance with the Town of Hebron Capital Improvement Plan policy, the town council approves the list of recommended projects as amended for the fiscal year 2026-2027 CIP budget of $1,293,689, and the 5-year plan as presented or as amended for inclusion in the town manager's fiscal year 2026-2027 budget presentation.
thank you. Any further discussion?
It's kind of nice, so nobody's happy.
That's a good point. Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay, or if you wish to abstain, Jan Lawrence,
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley,
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit,
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald,
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Teely, aye. Passed unanimously. Thank you. That brings us to item 8G, which is the newly added item of the website modernization project. Jan, do you have a
Yeah.
brief update for us?
Just a short update. We met with Civic Plus today and kind of reviewed an initial proposal. We want them to, as we have been doing tonight, apply some razor sharp focus on it. And we want to get some very itemized detail on what's optional, what's part of the needs that we actually need for modernizing the website, including ADA compliance, which is extremely important.
Yes.
We got to make sure that we bring that site up to ADA compliance. So we plan on we're hoping to get that proposal there this afternoon. Didn't get it yet. So this team here will be taking a look at that when we get it next week. We'll probably do a little back and forth with them to really kind of make sure we are in agreement of what we think is reasonable, what the site is, and then we can hopefully present it to you guys at the next town council meeting in 2 weeks.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Works for me.
Any questions?
Looking forward to it.
All righty. Me too. I'm excited. Thank you, Jan, for your work on this.
Of course.
All right. That brings us to 8H. Any other old business? Any other old business from the town manager? Any other old business from the council?
Nope.
Right. That will move us to new business. Item 9A. Approve assistant revenue collector job description. Claudia, do you mind reading the motion?
None. Which page?
Here you go.
Well, here it is.
Scroll.
Okay. Move that the Hebron Town Council approve the revised job description for assistant revenue collector as presented or amended.
Did the revenue collector provide these edits to us?
Finance director.
Finance director, but she consulted with the
Okay.
collector.
As long as Christie had some say in this.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any other additional edits or concerns? I mean, that was going to be my main question. I wanted to make sure Christie had input into the job description.
Yeah, she's changed a lot of stuff.
Wonderful.
You can see that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Take some of the negative stuff out of there.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah.
Okay. And any other discussion?
Just one question with respect to staffing levels in that office. So with the hiring of this new person, how many people would be in that office?
Full time.
Full time. So the woman that was working there this summer, was she a temp?
Yeah.
Oh,
You can help us out from Columbia.
okay. So question again about staffing levels in that office. There's some sensitivity there. How is it when someone's out, like lunch or sick or vacation leave? How do we address there not being just one person in that office?
Or lunch, because they take lunch together, we close the office.
Okay.
But as far as a sick day or vacation day, I think we're still subject to days like that. One person because somebody called out. We don't have extra staff to cover,
Mm-hmm.
but not at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I just want to put a pin in that. I think having one person in the office is not ideal, and I understand staffing levels and just from the security perspective.
Mhm.
I come from the banking world,
Sure.
and when folks are handling cash transactions and otherwise, it's never done with one person ever.
I agree.
So,
So we're going from one full timer and a floater to this would be to two full timers. So we're getting there. We're not to the point that you're describing yet. We don't have a backfill if somebody's sick, like we do for a police officer or a fireman. We don't have that capability yet. So you're not wrong.
okay. So, and another question I have with respect to that is, would the tax collector's office ever consider a policy of no cash allowed or paying taxes or otherwise in that office?
I mean, I could ask that question. I don't know if that would be an inconvenience to the taxpayer, but I mean, we could put that out to the Taxpayers Association if that's something that's ever done.
I know in some towns that is it. Cash is prohibited for transactions. In some towns it is, and I wondered if it was an option here.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look at it.
It's just I'm trying to figure out what is a safeguard if we don't have the option of having two people in there all the time with handling these transactions. What can we do for safety and that prevention? Obviously,
What I could do is we could call somebody in. If a cash deposit came, we could call somebody from another office, come down and sign off on the actual cash that was received. We could make that a part of a policy. But as far as having a floater to be available if someone called and said, we're not there yet. Just to be honest.
yeah, I appreciate your honesty. Yeah, I just want to put a pin in that.
Yeah.
A concern for sure. Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, I agree with Claudia's concerns regarding, updating policies. I mean, we're in the process of updating ours. I would very much like to see, financial policies be updated as well, especially with regards to internal controls and segregation of duties. I do know that not necessarily from the municipal side, but from the state side, it's very difficult to get away from cash because it imposes unequal barriers on people that do not have access to normal checking accounts and other things. It's actually easier to say no checks than it is to say no cash.
Right.
So that is something that we would definitely have to look at. I agree with you as far as the policy that, if a cash transaction is anticipated to take place, that we have enough we have enough people that report to the finance director in town hall that two people could be made available for that transaction.
Right.
And I think that the policy needs to reflect that.
Correct.
But I would just be hesitant about pursuing a no cash policy.
I think it's an equity issue. It's an equity issue.
I know.
And I think what I'm hearing from the council and what I hear from the public in general is that I think having maybe regular updates from Lori and Christy on the internal controls
Absolutely.
and policies that are being implemented, I think we can plan we should plan on having that at an upcoming council meeting just to hear about
That'd
the
be great.
kinds of things that Christie's implementing.
I think she's given that. Maybe did she give her a little bit of reporting? Maybe next week.
I haven't seen that.
All right, so we have some stuff we can easily get there.
We all need to see that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So between the forensic auditor, the woman that helped us come in with internal controls, we have filed a whole bunch. So yeah,
And it'd be helpful to see what you've implemented already and what you plan to implement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
have Lori.
We
Right.
mentioned that to Lori too, so I think she definitely had list items that she made.
We
improvements.
do, and she's got to formalize them. But
That'd be
we'll
great.
share 'em.
Awesome.
Maybe we add that as an agenda item?
We can. Okay. In April.
In April.
In April. March is a little busy.
March is budget.
March is a little busy, but in April, absolutely. Okay, any further discussion on the job description, which I thought was pretty well done? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. If you wish to abstain, Jan Lawrence,
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley,
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit,
Keep it at eye.
Sean Fitzgerald,
Oh, Fitzgerald, aye.
and myself, aye. Thank you.
Thank
Next
you.
is item 9B, draft agenda for the March 5th, 2026 regular meeting. As always, if you have items, please send them to the town manager's office so we can get those on there. That brings us to item 9C, any other new business? Any other new business from the town manager?
Well, just on that last item, I know I reached out to the whole council and Keith got back to me, but we're still looking for somebody for the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Oh, yes, sorry. And also I know that one of the town committees is meeting next week. I don't know if the other town committee is.
We're meeting on March 2nd.
March 2nd, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just if you could check with those town committees to make sure that they got the correspondence from Dory as far as the totality of open
Okay.
items.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know there are several that we have to write letters of recommendation for, and I'll make sure that BAA wanted to
Yeah.
focus on.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, I'll probably be hand delivering that due, I think, 3rd. One of them is.
One of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll make sure that happens.
All right, great. Sounds good. All right. Any other new business? That brings us to item 10, the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine in nature, which the council may not need to discuss individually and may be voted on as a group. Any council member who wishes to discuss a particular item in this section may request the chair to remove it for later discussion and a separate vote if necessary. Tonight, we have the approval of minutes from the February 5th, 2026 regular meeting and several tax refunds, which I'll read. I do have one correction to the minutes. Let me scroll down here and make sure I can find it. Page 4 of 5 under liaison reports. Item C, that should be a period after K and not a comma where it says K Pettit. Thank you.
Wow, I did not catch that.
Well, see, that's
That's
because
impressive.
I'm a communications expert and you're the accountant. Anybody else see anything that they'd like to change? Anybody need to separate these out? Okay, I'll read the motion. Move that the town council approve the following consent agenda items and motions contained therein as if individually adopted. Approval of minutes for the February 5th, 2026 regular meeting and the tax refund
As amended.
as amended. Thank you. And the tax refunds as listed. But do we read the tax refund?
No.
And the tax refunds as listed below. Any further discussion? We'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. If you wish to abstain, Jan Lawrence,
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley,
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit,
Keep it at eye.
Sean Fitzgerald,
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
and myself, Tiffany Taylor, aye. Thank you. And that brings us to liaison reports. Sean Fitzgerald, AHM.
AHM did have their budget meeting last week. In the interest of brevity, we'll just talk numbers. I will be adding their actual annual report to next meeting. Essentially, our portion, as many know or as many do not know, Andover, Hebron, and Marlboro all combine for the municipal needs of AHM. We are a larger town, and they're located in our town, so we do have a larger share. Their total needs from the municipalities for 2026-27 is, and this is not ours, this is the total, 690,000, up from 657. Main difference is that significant insurance increase. Nothing you can really do about that. They actually did cut some other things that we won't go into detail on just due to the time. Their ask from us is $348,703, up from $331,034, and Modest's $17,669, which is significantly lower than the difference in insurance cost alone. So they really did a great job mitigating costs this year. And they've been working, anyone who's been seeing the town budgets for the Board of Ed, which I'm not going to speak too much to because that's other liaisons. There's been some movement there as well. So that was not part of this. So I imagine they're quite happy over at AHM as of that posting, which was when you do it. But again, very modest increase, and we are essentially obligated by statute to fund AHM. So they did a really good job in keeping those costs down for us.
Yeah, they really did. All right, thank you. So the Hebron Board of Ed has sent their preliminary budget. I know they're going to continue to work on it through the month of March. Their preliminary budget is back up to 9.78% increase. They added one psychologist back in, but took out 0.2 of social worker. They added the psychologist back in after they listened to their director of educational services presentation on special ed and the need for psychological services. As most people know, or most people may not know, our special ed costs are through the roof. We have a lot of special ed students at the school, and the state is not covering excess cost, which was discussed at length during the meeting. So that's, something that the Board of Ed is working through. Two bits of positive news. This year's CAP Superintendent Award went to sixth grader Olivia Massey. Olivia embodies the spirit of the award and demonstrates these values every day. And they also celebrated Bill Holmes in his retirement as their computer tech guy and guru. So we will hear more about their budget as we go into March. Keith, Board of Finance. Or Brian, Board of Finance, or both of you, Board of Finance.
So unfortunately, I had a work issue, so I was not able to attend in person the last Board of Finance, and I know we've met since then as well. And I kind of gave a brief update at the last meeting, but Brian, please, if you have any.
No, I wasn't at your last meeting, so I don't know what you said. But no, I'm honestly just looking more preparing for our meeting, which is on Tuesday. So if anybody wants to come to our meeting, it's way more fun than this and shorter.
I think rather.
Really? It's a low blow, man.
That is, goodness.
Just kidding.
We're uninviting you. We're uninviting you.
No employee.
Sure. No, you got 40 pages. We get in here.
Okay. Jan, you've got open space and WPC.
Yeah, open space is next week.
Okay.
All right, so I'll speak to that in the next council meeting. WPCA, a couple things. Wellswood specifically was mentioned as having issues with grease and non-flushable clogs. Sorry for this little bit negative report here, but the owners and residents on that pump station may be subject to an EDU rate increase because WPCA, of course, has to clean that up because they're not properly enforcing that for that establishment. Within the contract with Lebanon, which we know is problematic at best, the WPCA has experienced what they estimated as an over $300,000 shortfall since 2017. Okay? So multiple solutions are currently being reviewed to properly meter and charge Lebanon residents on our system. Originally, when this well was installed, it was 8 feet too high, which resulted in the meter that was installed not being able to properly read consumption. So they could never use that meter. The meter zeroes out during low flow conditions. Some options such as metering each house would be cost prohibitive. Okay, so but they're looking at some other solutions. They're hard at work on that. But there's definitely legal issues there too, of course. And the contract itself is not great. One last item, they are looking at a new company for video inspections and maintenance. inside those sewer pipes. They are setting up a time to interview Savvy and Sons specifically. They have a good reputation, so we're working on that as well. And that is the end of my sewer report. Sorry for that discussion.
All right. Ram Board of Ed, Claudia.
They have not met since I last reported out, so I have nothing tonight.
Okay, great. That brings us to item 12, public comment. Same rules apply as before. Is there anyone in person who would like to make a public comment? Rob, and then the chief.
I'll be brief. So if you're a history nerd like me, you know that in 1968, Walter Cronkite got on TV and talked about the U.S. policy in Vietnam. And as people said at the time, you lose Walter Cronkite, you lost America, right? I think David Foster coming out tonight, the way he did, I think we had a Walter Cronkite moment. The answer is right in front of your face. Salt shed, transfer station on Old Colchester, garage on Horton. Please talk to or ask or charge the committee, the action committee, to look into that. You don't have to close a dump and all the costs associated with that. You don't have to have bids for curbside. Keep the transfer station where it is, keep the salt shed where it is, move the garage to Horton, and then have all the infrastructure ready for when you're going to need more infrastructure in this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, come on up.
Thank you. Chief Peter Starkell, Hebron Fire Department, Madam Chair and council members, I just wanted to thank you for your support of our CIP project. Just a couple notes on that. I'm really working hard to hopefully get that difference, that 700,000 down. Got some preliminary estimates from a couple vendors, and I'm hopeful that we can keep that around 6.
Right. Thank you.
But we're aggressively working on that. There's also lease purchase options too for that dollar amount. I work with a company, or have worked with a company in the past that specifically finances fire apparatus, and they have some 5 and 7 year options. So if that was something that you were interested in, I could certainly get more information on that, which would maybe allow some wiggle room for some other projects. I do plan on, if and when they open, FEMA is going to announce another round of assistance to firefighter grants. So when that comes up, I'll be back here to ask for permission to apply for a grant for that too. So, and then I just wanted to, Kathy Austin was mentioned earlier, the $500,000 that we got from the states is for Kathy. She's a huge supporter of ours in this town, and she's great. And I just wanted to say that on record that she's one of our biggest advocates, the department and the town. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
I just had one point to make. I know we're not supposed to reverse during public comment, but I wanted to just put a pin in this for the chief about the fire station closing in Norwich this past week. Potentially opportunities there. There's a fire sale down there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a very, very complex situation.
Right.
The city of Norwich owns the fire apparatus, but the volunteer fire departments are incorporated in separate entities.
Mm-hmm.
So the city owns the apparatus, and I'm going to make the assumption that the city is probably going to repurpose those. But they may reinstate the department, and they may be back up and running.
Mm-hmm.
But my personal thought is that they may repurpose those. But we'll keep our eye out. Okay.
Might see something on the side of the road.
Hey, listen, we're always up for a deal.
Thank you.
Any other in-person public comment? Is there anybody online? I don't see anybody online.
Terry McManus?
I'm sorry, is that Terry?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Terry McManus, 169 North Street, Hebron, Connecticut, 06248. There's a chance that we're not going to start building the DPW this year. And I would just request the council to direct our departments to figure out a way to get those employees out of that facility as soon as possible. They've waited a long time. It may not happen this time. I cannot see asking them to keep working in that in my opinion, unsafe facility any longer if the town decides not to build a new one. We need to help those people out. Thank you, Madam Chair, councilors.
Thank you. Any other virtual public comment? Hearing none, we now have an anticipated executive session, and we'll be inviting in the town manager. So Keith, would you like to make that motion?
Love to. I'll move that the town council enter executive session at 9:31 and invite Andy Tierney, town manager, for portions thereof.
We vote to one, right?
Yep.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. If you wish to abstain, Jan Lawrence.
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley.
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit.
Keep it at aye.
Sean McPhail.
Cheryl, aye.
And myself, Tiffany Taylor. Aye. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brian.